American Muscle, a Mopar story. Ever get the feeling you were born a little too late? You should have been cruising Route 66 back when chrome was king and 8 cylinders was just asking for more? Yeah, me too. There's just something about the roar of a big block V8, that rumble in your chest, that tells you you're behind the wheel of something real. We're talking about a time when Mopar ruled the streets. Plymouth, Dodge, Chrysler. These names meant power, performance, and good old American grit. So buckle up, folks, because today we're taking a trip back to the golden age of muscle cars. Get ready for some high-octane nostalgia. Now, I've seen a lot of cars in my time, but this one's special. It's not just a car, it's a legend on wheels, a piece of automotive history that still turns heads and quickens pulses. The '69 Charger Daytona, a car so audacious, so outlandishly styled it looked like it drove straight out of a sci-fi flick and onto the racetrack. Its design was revolutionary, a true testament to the boldness of its creators. See, back then, NASCAR was the Wild West. It was a time of innovation and fierce competition, where the rules were still being written and rewritten with every race. Manufacturers were throwing everything but the kitchen sink at building cars that could cheat the wind and dominate the high banks. Aerodynamics became the name of the game, and everyone wanted to be the fastest. And Chrysler? Well, they weren't about to be outdone. They were determined to make their mark and show the world what they were capable of. They took the already gorgeous Charger, slapped on a massive rear wing that could double as a picnic table, and sculpted that nose cone like it was going for a high-speed nose job. It was a bold move, but it paid off in spades. But under all that sheet metal, this was a beast. It wasn't just about looks, it had the muscle to back it up. We're talking a 440 Magnum V8 spitting out enough horsepower to make your hair stand on end. This engine was a powerhouse, a true marvel of engineering that could leave competitors in the dust. The Daytona went on to win race after race, cementing its place in motorsports history. It wasn't just a car, it was a champion, a symbol of speed and power that left an indelible mark on the racing world. And let me tell you, even standing still, this car just oozes cool. It's a timeless icon, a reminder of an era when cars were more than just machines. They were works of art, expressions of freedom and power. You know, they say looks can kill, and in the case of the '69 Plymouth Cuda 440, they wouldn't be wrong. This car was more than just a pretty face, it was a beast on the streets. This car was pure muscle, a true embodiment of American automotive power. A street-legal weapon designed to intimidate the competition from the moment it rolled off the assembly line. It was built to dominate, to be the king of the road. The Cuda had this stance, this wide, low-slung profile that just screamed, "Get out of my way," and those hideaway headlights? Man, talk about cool. They were like the car's secret weapon, ready to reveal its true nature at any moment. But the real story here was under the hood. It wasn't just about looks, it was about raw, unadulterated power. That 440 cubic inch big block V8, a marvel of engineering, pumping out enough torque to twist the Earth's rotation. It was like having a thunderstorm trapped under the hood, ready to unleash its fury at any moment. This wasn't just a car, it was a force of nature, a mechanical beast that demanded respect. I remember seeing one of these bad boys at a stoplight when I was a kid. The anticipation was electric. The ground practically shook when the driver revved the engine, and when it did, man, it was gone. It was like watching a rocket launch, pure adrenaline. The Cuda 440 was a statement, a declaration that you weren't afraid of a little power. It was a car that made you feel alive, that made you feel invincible. It wasn't just about speed, it was about the experience, the thrill of commanding such a powerful machine. The Cuda was more than just metal and rubber, it was a legend. The Cuda 440 was a statement, a declaration that you weren't afraid of a little power. It was a car that made you feel alive, that made you feel invincible. It was a car that made you feel alive, that made you feel invincible. The Cuda was more than just metal and rubber, it was a legend. By 1971, the muscle car wars were in full swing. Competition was fierce, but Dodge wasn't about to back down. They unleashed the 1971 Charger RT, a car that took everything great about the previous generation and cranked it up to 11. The design was an evolution, more sculpted, more refined, but still with that unmistakable Charger DNA. The long hood, the fastback roofline, it just oozed attitude. And then there was that grille. Oh man, that grille. Nestled in that engine bay was the legendary 426 Hemi, a fire-breathing monster of an engine that could turn gasoline into pure adrenaline. The Charger RT was the kind of car that made you feel like $1,000,000, even if you were just cruising down to the drive-in. It was the perfect blend of muscle and sophistication, a car that could turn heads and burn rubber with equal ease. Chapter 4, 1970, Plymouth Superbird Winged Warrior. Now if you want to talk about cars that were born to race, look no further than the 1970 Plymouth Superbird. This thing was a NASCAR legend. a purpose-built machine designed to dominate the high banks of Daytona and Talladega. I mean, just look at it. That massive rear wing, that aerodynamic nose cone, it looked like it was going 200 miles per hour just standing still. The Superbird was a game-changer, a rolling testament to the power of aerodynamics. It sliced through the air like a rocket, leaving the competition eating its dust. But the Superbird wasn't just about speed, it was about pushing the boundaries of what a car could be. It was a symbol of innovation, of American engineering at its finest. Chapter 5, 1968, Plymouth Barracuda, Formula S, the Agile Predator. Now, not every Mopar muscle car was a big brawny bruiser. Take the 1968 Plymouth Barracuda Formula S, for example. This was a car that was all about agility, about carving corners and leaving the competition in the dust. The Barracuda had this sleek, almost delicate look to it, like a shark cutting through water. But under that skin, it was all business. The Formula S package gave you a 340 cubic inch V8, a 4-barrel carburetor, and a whole lot of attitude. It was a reminder that sometimes it's not about the size of your engine, but how you use it. Chapter 6, 1970 Dodge Challenger RT, the Challenger arrives. By the time the 1970s rolled around, the muscle car scene was getting pretty crowded. But Dodge wasn't afraid of a little competition. In fact, they welcomed it. They unleashed the 1970 Dodge Challenger RT, a car that was ready to take on all comers. The Challenger was a head-turner from the get-go, with its long, sculpted hood, short deck lid, and aggressive stance. It had this presence, this aura of confidence that demanded respect. And under that hood, you had your choice of power plants, including the mighty 440 Magnum. The Challenger RT was a statement, a declaration that Dodge was a force to be reckoned with. It was a car that could hold its own against anything on the road, both in terms of looks and performance. Chapter 7, 1966, Dodge Charger, A Star is Born. Talk about making an entrance. The 1966 Dodge Charger burst onto the scene like a bolt of lightning, instantly becoming one of the most iconic muscle cars of all time. It was a car that didn't just arrive, it announced itself with a roar that echoed through the annals of automotive history. This car had it all: stunning good looks, a powerful engine, and an attitude that could melt asphalt. Its sleek fastback design was a head-turner, a perfect blend of aggression and elegance that made it stand out in a crowd. It was the perfect blend of style and substance, a car that could turn heads on the street and smoke the competition at the drag strip. The Charger wasn't just about looks, it had the performance to back it up, making it a favorite among car enthusiasts and racers alike. Under the hood of this beast lurked a 426 Hemi, an engine that needs no introduction. This powerhouse was the heart and soul of the Charger, delivering raw, unadulterated power that left competitors in the dust. It was a symphony of horsepower and torque, capable of propelling the Charger from 0 to 60 in a heartbeat. The acceleration was breathtaking, a testament to the engineering prowess that went into creating this masterpiece. It was a cultural phenomenon, appearing in countless movies, TV shows, and songs. The Charger wasn't just a car, it was a symbol of an era, a representation of freedom, power, and rebellion. Even today, the '66 Charger remains one of the most sought-after muscle cars of all time. Its legacy lives on, cherished by collectors and car enthusiasts who recognize its significance in automotive history. The Charger is more than just a car, it's a legend that continues to inspire and captivate. Chapter 8, 1971, Plymouth GTX 440, the gentleman's muscle car. Now, some muscle cars were all about brute force, while others were about finesse. The 1971 Plymouth GTX 440 fell somewhere in between. It was a car that could deliver both raw power and refined style in equal measure. On the outside, the GTX exuded an air of sophistication. It had a sleek, understated design that hinted at its performance potential without screaming about it. But under the hood, there was no mistaking this car's intentions. The 440 cubic inch big block V8 was a force to be reckoned with, delivering tire shredding power on demand. Chapter 9, 1970, Dodge Coronet Super Bee, the budget-friendly buzzsaw. Not everyone could afford a top-of-the-line muscle car back in the day, but that didn't mean you couldn't have some fun on a budget. The 1970 Dodge Coronet Super Bee was proof that you could get a whole lot of bang for your buck. This car was all about no-frills performance. It had a simple, straightforward design that put the focus on what mattered most, the engine. The Super Bee was a car for the everyman, a machine that could outrun cars costing twice as much. Chapter 10, 1969, Plymouth Roadrunner. Beep, beep. Now we can't talk about Mopar muscle cars without mentioning the car that started it all, the 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner. This was the car that proved that you didn't need a lot of fancy features or a high price tag to have a blast behind the wheel. The Roadrunner was all about simple, honest-to-goodness performance. It had a no-nonsense design, a powerful engine, and a price tag that made it accessible to the average Joe. And let's not forget about that iconic beep-beep horn, a sound that struck fear into the hearts of the competition. Under the hood, you had a choice of engines, including the legendary 426 Hemi. The Roadrunner was a game-changer, a car that made high performance accessible to everyone. Outro Mopar Magic, a legacy of power and performance. We've seen some amazing machines today, haven't we? Each one a testament to the golden age of American muscle. These cars weren't just transportation, they were statements. They were expressions of freedom, power, and style, all wrapped up in a package that could burn rubber and turn heads wherever they went. From the roar of a Hemi engine to the sleek lines that could cut through the air, these Mopar muscle cars left an indelible mark on automotive history. So keep the rubber side down, keep those engines roaring, and we'll see you next time.